Hi class. So this is a follow-on video from my introduction video. This is adding a heat source. So I have the geometry here. One thing that I had to change on my geometry is that these double heat sinks that you have one uh, basically penetrating the inlet flow volume and then one penetrating the outside flow volume or the exit flow volume. So I need to basically add a heat source. I need to simulate the thermoelectric cooler, which if you're familiar with the thermoelectric cooler, has one side that gets hot and one side that gets cold when we apply potential across the thermoelectric cooler. And so I needed to cut away the center portion that was holding these two pieces together, because right now everything this model is defined as copper. This is just you can, in flow simulation, you can select whatever material you want. But if you can imagine, if I'm trying to heat this one end hot and this one end cold, and there's this copper connect, they're connected by a copper connection here, then there really is no way to separate the hot from the cold. Copper is too good of a conductor. So I had to cut that piece away. This is where the thermoelectric cooler would fit. And the thermoelectric cooler is actually made out of a ceramic alloy that has poor thermoconductivity conduction. So it has a conductivity and effective conductivity way lower than copper. So I just cut it away. And now I'm going to introduce a heat source at the top. And so to do that, I go to Tools, Flow Simulation, Insert, and then I go all the way to the bottom and Surface Source. And this is where I introduce a heat source. So I'm going to basically, with SolidWorks, I select this surface here. And so I have the outer tube hidden. That's why I'm able to go ahead and select surfaces. Otherwise, I'd be having to deal with the tube, and I wouldn't be able to see what I'm doing, and I have to, play around with selection tools. So it's easier just to hide that outer tube. So here's the face I want to select, and I want to apply. So I've worked with these thermoelectric coolers before, and they're good for about, let's see, about um, just 10 watts or so. I mean, you can size them as much as possible. I'm going to put 10 watts as my heat source, but I'm going to go ahead and select the other ones too. That's 10 watts there. I think I have to do each face individually. So I added a 10 watt heat source there. I'm going to add another one here. So same thing, Tools, Flow Simulation, Insert, Source, Surface Source. And I'm going to put 10. I'm hoping you can see all this in the video. Sometimes the pop-up windows don't come up. And I had one more. And, I could just right-click, Insert Surface Source. Again, this is what I did. Once you have your heat source, once you put your first heat source in, you're going to have on the feature manager tree on the left, you're going to have a category now that says heat sources, and all you have to do is just now right-click heat sources, insert surface source, and now you can just go. It's a little quicker than having to go through the tool, the menu bar up here. So I go ahead and put 10 watts there. Alright, now I'm not done yet. Alright, so now I selected my heat source. Now I gotta select so that's basically what that's gonna do. It's gonna put power or dissipation power into the heatsink to heat up the air. Now I want to be able to drop the temperature of the air as it comes around and starts hitting these colder ones. To do that, you can either kind of just select these heat sinks and give them a temperature. I might have to do that, but I'm going to entertain doing a negative heat source and see if that works. To be able to, I just woke up, I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time talking. To be able to absorb the heat. So let's try this. Instead of a heat source, a heat sink. So for that, I'm going to go right-click heat source, insert source. I'm going to click here, and it's as simple as just putting -10, and let's see if that works. Sometimes programs don't like that. Let's see if that works. Well, it looks like it worked. So if I went ahead and if I click on that new heat generation, I put -10. So I'm hoping that it's going to sink heat. It's going to absorb the heat as the air comes around. We'll see in the simulation run. So I'll do the same thing for the other sinks as well. So I'll sink that -10. Okay, didn't like what I did. Let's try this again. It says this already belongs to, oh, 5. Okay, I already created it. Why did it give me a hard time? All right, so then I need to go and create this last one. So I should have, well, actually I have, how many sources did I put? So there's 10 watt source there, 10 watt source there, 10 watt source there, 10 watt sink, a 10 watt, oh, okay. I selected 2 surfaces here. So where's the surface that I need to delete? No, I need to delete this one. All right, good. Now I have, that's the only face. Otherwise, it would be removing 10 watts again from the face that I had here. So I fixed that. Okay. Now it doesn't like what I did. All right. Oh, okay. So I have to delete this one. So I have a source, a sink, and I need one more sink right here. So I'm going to go and right-click heat source, insert surface source, click that, and put -10. Oh, okay. Don't you just love the way SolidWorks behaves sometimes? Okay, so now we have, no, it doesn't like this. Hold on. Heat sink. Okay, sink source. You know, I'm just gonna delete this. It's showing up as an error there. So again, source, 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 sink, sink, and I gotta put one more right there. Sink. Alright, good. Now I don't have any errors. Let's just go ahead and run this. I'm going to go ahead and do a goal. Now that I put the heat source in there, my goal, so in order to run the simulation, has to be able to know when to stop. And the original goal I had set was just a boundary condition goal of pressure. Once the whole system reaches a certain average pressure, when it simulates, then it stopped the simulation. So now I'm going to give it another goal to help it converge. I'm going to say a surface goal. And then I'm going to just select maybe this last one here. And I'm going to say when this thing reaches an average temperature, or just say a minimum temperature. So here, I don't know if you can see this, but we have all our parameters here, and there's minimum, average, maximum, bulk average. So I'm going to say when it reaches a minimum temperature of that surface there, and let's see, where's the temperature at? Temperature of the fluid, but I want a temperature. Oh goodness, I can't read this. Okay, total temperature, minimum. All right, let's see if that works. So let's go ahead and run this. And this is what you're going to see. I don't know how long this is going to take. So here's where, as a simulator, as a person, as you start crossing your fingers, and it seems like it doesn't like a goal that I have, and it didn't like my total minimum temperature. We're just going to ignore that for now. Maybe that's what the program is doing anyway. And it looks like it's calculating really slow. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, and then we'll see you on the other side when this thing finishes. Okay.